everyone, it's the Fat Philosopher here, and I'm making a video today to tell you about a recent guitar purchase I got, and it's a little unusual brand in America, which is Grassroots guitars. Okay, now Grassroots is quite common here in Japan. It's actually part of the ESP brand. As Epiphone is to Gibson, Grassroots is to ESP. ESP actually has a whole tier of guitar brands. Cheapest tier is this Grassroots brand, and which makes guitars roughly from the $400 price point to the $600 price point. And there's a whole range of guitars. So there's of course the LP style, you got your Strat style, Tele style, got some pointy guitars, and they even have a 7-string that is available to be bought under the Grassroots names. After that is another Japanese exclusive brand called Edwards, which is kind of covers guitars from say 700 to 1,000 roughly. And sometimes a lot of it's just the headstock name on it too. Now after that, of course, they have LTD, going then up to, they have Navigator E2, Signature Series, and then the really expensive $6,000 guitars under the just ESP name there, right? Save the best for the main brand name, right? And Grassroots are very common in Japan. I think they're also sold in Russia and Korea, largely because when I was looking for videos on Grassroots guitars, a lot of them came up in Russian and Korean, so I assume they got them too. Anyways, let's see what I got here today. This is called the Grassroots LP50-C style. If you go into the Japanese homepage, it's now called this the LP60, not 50. So this guitar is maybe 5 years old. 50 and 60, just look at them, I can't really see the big difference. Now you might be wondering, why don't they ESP sell these guitars in America? Maybe the $400 price range, a lot of other competition. Another reason is because it's, as you can see, it's almost identical to this Gibson Les Paul Black Beauty, right? What we have here, this comes in two styles. There's black and white. Black is by far more common. I'll show you a picture in on the overlay here. As you can see, right down to the headstock, this is Grassroots on it there. It's almost exactly the same design, but maybe a little bit more wider than a Gibson, but not by much. Now, I got this guitar because I need a stopgap. I recently had to send back my Steinberger. I sold my Fender, and my Galeri's not working so good, so it's actually kind of not have much of a guitar selection. So since I got money back from the Steinberger, I went down to the pawn shop and I found a lefty one of these. Now these sell, according to the website, they're supposed to sell for $600 roughly, but when you go to the actual stores, they sell just barely over $400 new. Used, we're getting a lot of them for about $200, maybe $210 or so. This lefty was selling for just under $200, and at the pawn shop I negotiated them down to about $175. So this whole guitar for $175. So what do I get? Well, I got a black maple hardtop, mahogany body. As you can see, unlike a Gibson gold top, it doesn't have a gold binding, but it has a 5-ply white and black binding almost through the whole guitar. The pickguard also has a 3-ply binding on it as well. Well, like I said, the tuners are not the best. They could be replaced if wanted. The nut is looks a little bit old to me. It's an older guitar, but it seems to be cut fairly good. But then again, doesn't keep the best tuning. The frets are just regular frets. They're no sharp ends. It's nice binding all the way down the side here, and the side dots seem to be put in fine. They could use a polishing, like I said. We have kind of a mother and pearl type inlay. It's done fairly good. There's a little bit of black wood filler on some of them, but it's not really something you really even notice, or if you're playing live, you didn't notice it either. Now, I am not actually an LP style body fan. I prefer a longer fretboard. I found them a little heavy, and I prefer like the bevels you get. But I was personally surprised with this one here. First of all, the weight not too bad. It's 3.5 kilos, which is like just under 8 pounds, like 7.8 pounds about for this. Which for me and my bad back is good news, right? Okay. This guitar is made in Korea. Of course, it's a Japanese company, but it's made in Korea. So it's not a made in China one, right? So it's kind of nice to know there. And for a $200 guitar, it's pretty solidly built. Everything seems rock solid, nothing seems loose or anything like that. Toggle switch seems to work okay. Strap lock buttons are on fine. So not too bad there. There's no for a guitar it's about 5 years old, there's no really chips in the finish at all. There's one little scratch over here that you can barely see. The camera probably can't even pick it up. And it seems to work quite fine. The neck is fairly thin. So it's not a baseball bat type of Gibson neck, and the fretboard's fairly flat. I couldn't find any specs about the radius there, but it's definitely not like a Fender 9. It's probably like about a 12, I think, which is what I kind of like. I prefer a flatter neck for playing, because I kind of like doing solos and stuff like that, right? The pickups are not microphonic at all. They work, they do it. Of course, this is Tony from Addicted to Gear, he said throw them out, but right now I kind of like they work fine. They're the same pickup in the neck and the bridge. The neck is of course raised, the bridge is way more higher than the neck, because the neck is really down there. Of course that's something you could adjust if you want to. I'm leaving it as it is because it gives a good, gives a larger range of sound I think with the neck down and the bridge up. And the knobs are your typical 2 volume, 2 tones. I have never been personally a fan of like 4 knobs, a little too much for me. It's gonna be 1 volume, and I'm not even a big tone knob fan, but even 1 tone, 2 knobs is like my max. But you know, it is what it is. It's trying to copy Gibson, and I think it does a pretty good job on that. So if you ever came to Japan, like I said, these guitars are not available in America as it is, but they're available at several other countries. And being a kind of a little bit cheaper guitar, like say the $400, $600 price range, you find lots of Grassroots guitars in pawn shops in Japan. When I went to buy this one at a new pawn shop I found there's 2 other right ones by Grassroots there, and a lot of other styles from Grassroots are in pawn shops because, you know, new players tend to buy them, and new players tend to quit more often than a longer player does. But for what the money I paid for this, it seemed like a good rock solid guitar. But the whole aesthetic design with gold is quite good. Now this guitar is probably 5 years old. Well, the gold plating on it is still keeping quite well. All the screws are gold. The tuning keys are all gold as well. Even the screws on the back cavities are all gold. Cavities are also recessed, which is nice to see on a cheaper guitar like this as well. When people think of Japanese companies, what probably comes to mind is ESP and Ibanez. You'd be a little bit surprised to find that you don't see as many Ibanezes in music stores, at least in my area in Japan, as you do these ESPs. I think the reason why is that ESP has a better return policy for unsold merchandise than Ibanez does, right? Ibanez, you pretty well, if you buy it from them, you gotta sell it. ESP will let things be sent back. So having that gives a lot more encouragement to the music companies to be selling ESP products compared to Ibanez. So what am I planning to do with this guitar? I'm going to keep it as it is until at least November. Now coming in December I have my new custom coming in, and at that time I might just sell it as it is. If I really still liking this guitar then, and I might keep it and then think about upgrading a little bit. But at that time my custom lefty should be coming in, and I'd probably be just playing that all the time. So it's kind of a stopgap until that comes in, and I think I really should have a lot of fun with it for the next 3 months anyways. This use was a 175, it's about 400 new, and like I said, I'm probably going to flip it in November. When I do flip it, I think I could probably get that 175 back. I think it should retain that for this particular model, especially being a lefty and not as many around. But we'll see what happens. I'll put it up on Yahoo Auctions, which is the main thing here in Japan, not really Reverb, and see what kind of a deal I can get. So if you're in the market for a very cheap Gibson alternative that looks quite a bit like Gibson's, you might take a look at these Grassroots if you come into the country. Like I said, you could pick them up new for about $400. Pawn shops will probably have them for about $200. Might be a nice little souvenir to take back home. Anyways, well, if you have any other questions about Grassroots at all, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll see if I can answer them the best as I can. Anyways, take care and enjoy your holiday. Salut!